Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about the matrix in Power BI. Matrix visuals are similar to the tables, but offer additional capabilities for summarizing the data by rows and the columns. They allow the users to aggregate and analyze the data across multiple dimensions, providing a comprehensive view of the data set. Matrices are used for summarizing the hierarchical data structures and facilitating in-depth analysis of complex data sets. So let's go to the Power BI screen and see how can we create these matrix or matrices. So to create matrix, I have this icon just after this table option. So you can click on this matrix. And first of all, let's discuss what is the difference in the table and matrix. So let's say if I'm creating any table, so let's change it to table right now. And let's say I want to see what is the sales that I'm doing in every subcategory. So in that case, I can easily drag and drop this subcategory over here, the sales over here, which was very simple. We did it in the last lecture only. So now I want to see what is this sale done in each particular market or in each region. In that case, what can I do? So again, I have to drag and drop this market over here. So now you can see that for every market, I'm doing some sales over here. So let's bring sales down a bit so it can be looked just after this market. So over here, I'm having these subcategories, and for every subcategory, I'm having an individual market as well. So for Africa market, I have the accessories also. For Africa, I have art also. And similarly, for Africa, I'm having every subcategory and some sales option over here. Now, if you look at these subcategory wise sales for each market, it is very difficult to understand the relations or the trends that is going on or which particular market is performing in which way. So it becomes very difficult for analyze. And since when you're having these repetitive data, so in that case you don't need to create this one dimensional data over there. In that case you need any different kind of visualization in which you can see this data in a more easier format and the values are easier to compare. So for that purpose we are creating a matrix over here. So if I want to change this visual into matrix, what I need to do is first I will select this visual and then I will select this matrix over here. So it would convert my tables to matrix. Now this has now been converted to matrix. Now this data is very easier to be. Here I can easily find out that accessories and how it is performing in Africa versus how it is performing in APAC region and Canada region and the other regions as well. So it would be very easier for me to analyze which particular subcategory is performing how much sales in different markets over here. In a similar way, I can easily compare the other subcategories as well. So this is the way in which the tables are different from the matrix. And in this matrix, you can see the data in different rows and column format. So over here, if you look at the data view, in this data views, in the tables, when we are talking about just the tables, I have only one particular data. So if I click on this plus icon and if I select this table over here, so right now I'm only having this one data field over here, which is columns. But if you talk about the matrix, here I'm having the options. I'll just select this table. Give me a moment. So if I select it, I'm having this data feeds for rows as well as the columns and the values that I want to see. So whatever values you put in the rows would be shown over here on the left hand side. The values that would be putting in the columns part would be showing over here in this top part, and the values would be filled in these cells. So in this way, you can create a matrix. So let's see how can we create this matrix from scratch. Right now we change the tables to matrix, but what if we want to create it from scratch? So again, I will click on this plus icon. So let's say this time I am taking the profit part and I want to see what is the profit that each region is giving me for every category. So for that, I can click on this matrix, increase the size. In the rows, I'm keeping these categories. In the columns, I want to see different regions. So I will put the regions in this columns. And for the values, I want to find out the value of profit. So I'll put this profit over here. Now you can see how each category is performing in different regions. So let's interchange these values. Let's try to keep this categories in the columns part and this region in the rows part. So now it is giving me a better view because again and again I had to scroll if I was keeping it in a different format. So over here, these value can be easily compared when we are talking about the matrix, and they were very typical when we were talking about the tables over there. So now let's talk a bit about the formatting of this visual. To format this visual, I can go in this format part, and over here, I again have this style preset options with me. If I go in this style presets option, I have the minimal, bold header, alternating rows. So I can select any particular style preset from over here. Let's say bold headers for now. So you can see the whole headers have been now bold. And since it is a matrix, the headers are present in the x-axis or in the rows part and in the columns part as well. Then we have this grid option. If you want to show the grids in between these rows, the vertical grid lines to show it in between these columns, the borders option. If you want to keep the borders, we have also already seen it in the tables part. Again, if you want to see it, so I can click on the borders, I can switch on this top, left, and right borders. Also, I can switch on this bottom. Also, I can switch on this bottom border. Then I have this option of values. So you can click on the values and you can change the font type, font size, and the font colors from this values option. Then I have the rows header option. So let's say if you don't want to keep this style preset, you can make it default for now, or you can choose none for now. And then individually you can choose the values of row headers, column headers, and the other grid lines. Then we have this column subtotals and row subtotals options. So right now I can see this subtotals over here. What is the subtotal in the Africa region by these categories over here? So the subtotal is shown over here, 88,871. Let's say if I want to change this row subtotal, so I can click on this part and I can try to change the values color, value font, and the text color. So let's keep the text color as blue and let's make it bold. So in a similar way, I can see these totals over here. These totals are the rows grand total and the columns grand total. So let's say if you want to change the values of it or change the color, the font size, the font type from it, what you can do is you can use this option of the column grand total and the row grand totals over here. So if I go to the column grand total over here, I have this option to change the font type, font size, and the text color. So let's keep the text color as blue for now. You can see the text color has changed to blue. In a similar way, you can change the color, the font size on the far right of this column wise totals. So again, you can change the text color from over here. In this way, you can try to change the values from over here. Now, these were the basic formatting options that were available in the matrix. Now, let's talk a bit about the hierarchy. We know in our data, there are lot of data fields which follow a hierarchy. Let's say if you are talking about any category, so there are multiple subcategories that come inside those categories. So in that way, let's say if you want to create a matrix and if you want to see the data, what would you do? So again, I will go to the new page. And before that, remember, you don't have to do the formatting by this kind. I'm just showing you for the purpose of education. And you just have to match the theme of your all the visuals over here, since it is not looking too good right now. So again, I will go to the new page. I will choose a matrix. This time, I want to see how each category is performing. So again, I will put this category over here and I will put the sales over here. Now, let's say you also want to see how each subcategory is performing in terms of sales. So for that, I can drag and drop this subcategory over here. As soon as I do it, you can see that it is trying to adapt this row and column feature type of thing. This is coming in this rows and these subcategories are coming over here in the columns. So for that, I can drag and drop this subcategories from columns to this rows. And as soon as I do it, it tries to identify the hierarchy that is present over here. And what specific thing has changed is that you can see this furniture has now got this plus icon on the top of it. This plus icon is used to maximize this and show all the values present inside it. So if I just click on this minus icon, which would minimize it, right now I can see the categories and what are the individual sales these categories are giving me. But if I press this plus icon, I can easily identify the sales given by every subcategory that is inside that category. So bookcases, chairs, furniture, tables, these are inside these furnitures and these are the sales given by those. And the overall sales in the furniture category is this 41 lakh 10,874.90. In a similar way, you can try to expand this office supplies, you can try to expand this technology as well. And it would make the things very simple for you when you are trying to look at the bigger picture, but still you want to retain the smaller values so you can easily find out the results among it. Now, this particular feature is very useful when we are talking about the geographical fields also. So I will again create a matrix for you. In this case, when I'm creating a matrix, the first thing I'm taking is the countries. So let's keep the country over here in the rows. And just beneath this country, I will put states. Then I will put city. So I have the city over here. Then I also have the regions and markets. So I can put markets just on the top of country and then regions also. Okay. So the hierarchy is like markets are there, and inside those markets, there are regions. And inside those regions, I have the countries, then I have the states inside the countries, then I have the cities. And now I want to see the overall sales that has been done. So I can drag and drop the sales over here. As soon as I do it, you can see it is again giving me this plus icon. So I will just put it in the focus mode. So the first part is this Africa market. If I click on it, I can see that inside this Africa market, I only have one region, which is Africa region. If I again click on it, then I would be moving to the next level of the hierarchy, which is country. So inside that Africa region, I have multiple countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Libya. So these are the different countries over here. Now I want to see that what is the specific sales that these countries are doing. So I can easily try to find out the values from this part only. But I want to find out the sales done by each state in Algeria. For that, I can again click on this plus icon and it would show me the list of all the that are present inside that country, and I can find the individual sales. Then if you want to move one level more down, you can just click on this plus icon and then it would show you the city-wise data. And since the city-wise data is last, so it is not showing me any icon just on top of it. If you want to collapse it, you can just press this minus sign and it was collapse those values. But this part is very tricky and this is very time consuming. So in that case, what you can do is I also have this drill down option over here. Let's say if you want to move one level down in this hierarchy. So for that, you can use this drill down option. And we have already talked about this drill down option. This is used to move one level down in the hierarchy. So after you have turned on this option, I would have this option of expanding these all things one level down in the hierarchy. So if I click on this, it would just, let's say it would be like individually clicking on each of this plus icon and it would display these values for you. It is moving one level down in the hierarchy. Now, if you just want to move one level top of the hierarchy, you can use this top drill up option. So you can click this top arrow and it would just take you one step ahead of it. So in this way, you can also use this drill up option over here. So this was all about the matrix, and we have seen that how these matrix are different from the tables and how can we utilize this to create some different hierarchies and then see the data in terms of those hierarchies. So this was all for this session. In the next session, we will be talking about the different other visualizations present in Power BI. Thank you.